and welcome to another episode of Nightcap with Nightcat, the show where we talk about toys, boys, and life's other joys. I'm your host, Jackson Carter AKA Nightcat. Thank you so much for being here. Before we get into the show, I need to address something from last week's show. I did a story about a man in Vietnam who refused to pay for his tattoo, so the tattoo artist stripped him naked and saran wrapped him to a tree, tied him up. I mentioned a quote from the article, and I used the word quote, which a friend of mine who will remain nameless, Jess Brunker, he decided that it wasn't actually a quote if it was not in Vietnamese. So I'm gonna tell him and all the rest of you out there who think you're cute saying things like that, just go ahead and assume that anything I say as a quote is actually a hard paraphrase, a real bastardization of the original message. And you're gonna have to be okay with that because I'm not gonna try any harder. It is what it is. Thank you so much. All right, speaking of people who are bad at what they do, let's get into the litter box.
Ew, what stinks in here?
The litter box is the part of the show where I go through my favorite kind of news. Stupid. Let's get started with Powers Law Firm in Crossville, Tennessee. A lot of places have started this really great Valentine's Day marketing, but I don't think anyone has done it quite like Powers has. The firm says that they are going to give away a free divorce to celebrate Valentine's Day. Here's what they had to say about it. Valentine's Day, to some, is a reminder that they are trapped in a marriage that they cannot afford to get out of. There is no cost for entry. Contestants will not be charged for Miss Power's services or court filing fees. That's the thing. Divorces are expensive. That's why I am firmly against marriage. Look, if I wanted to pay to have someone break my heart, I would just get back with my ex. That was a very expensive, very sad relationship. Submissions are being accepted through the 15th, which means you still have one more Valentine's Day with your spouse for them to really pull it out before you decide whether or not you're gonna enter this contest. And all you have to do is just submit a story as to why you're getting divorced. And I'm guessing that if you wanna get a divorce, there are probably many stories that you could write for that essay. So good luck. I mean, honestly, I don't think of divorce as all that terrible of a thing typically. It means that somebody who is in a really unhappy relationship got out of it. So congratulations to you. Divorced people must be nice. I don't know who's still committing robberies. I mean, quite frankly, who is still doing this? Banks have more cameras than lollipops now, and I know nobody is using their cash at 7-Eleven. So if you're not robbing convenience stores or banks, what are you robbing? Well, a man in San Pablo, California, went ahead and answered that question for me. Police arrested David Carjabal for robbing a pet store. A pet store. Police responded to a burglary at the El Granero feed store where a bunch of cash and animals had gone missing overnight. Obviously, the cops immediately look at the footage. They see the guy who did it. They find David just walking down the street out of Walgreens after he stole 40 baby chicks and an exotic bird. David was found with the birds in his possessions. Police immediately arrested him, charged him with animal cruelty and theft of property. The animal cruelty thing, by the way, is because he was keeping those chickens in a box without enough ventilation. And the cops were like, well, we don't like that. We're just gonna throw that onto you, which, respect. David made bail the next day. But then, a few days later, Sunday rolls around and his parole officer is stopping by for their regular visit. He takes a look in the bedroom and what does he find but 3 tortoises that had gone missing from that store. He literally went to jail for it. And then he just forgot to mention that he also still had their 3 turtles. He was arrested for a second time for the exact same crime. But I think the real crime in all of this is the fact that the headline did not read, I wrote it down so that I wouldn't mess it up. Cat burglar runs out of lives, in for a rough jail sentence. Huh? A rough. All right. Matthew McConaughey. All right. I have very mixed feelings about Matthew McConaughey. He's really grown on me a lot lately. I do just love just a chill hillbilly. I don't know what, a chillbilly. I'm a big fan of the chillbilly, and I think Matthew McConaughey is like the #1 chillbilly. Matthew McConaughey talks about the night that he got kicked out of WWE. As a spectator, not even as like an unruly competitor. He straight up got kicked out because he was being a jerk in the stands. Here's what he had to say. He was on the Better Together podcast, and he said, quote, "I got kicked out of Hirsch Coliseum in Shreveport. I brought a paper bag full of old mushed tomatoes, and Skandor Akbar comes out, and I just start pelting him. I got kicked out." So here's the crazy thing. He snuck back into the Coliseum through a bathroom window. He was standing right in the way of a wrestler named, I don't know wrestlers, so I have to look up. The wrestler's name is King Kong Bundy. He sees King Kong Bundy walking down the hallway, and he hawked a loogie and spit on this gigantic wrestler. Awful bold move for a guy who probably weighs like 110 pounds soaking wet. He looked at me in the eyes and scared the heck out of me after I did it. And I took off running, and they caught me and they kicked me out. He literally got kicked out of the Coliseum twice for being a bastard, a real son of a gun. Though honestly, if Matthew McConaughey spit on me, I don't know that I'd be able to kick his ass because I'd be frantically rushing to a doctor's office to get a rabies test. And finally, as if Gwyneth Paltrow couldn't sink any lower in my eyes, here we are. That vagina candle, let's talk about it. I think it was last year actually, Gwyneth Paltrow released a candle under her Goop label. That's her like lifestyle brand. And it was a candle that says, "This smells like my vagina." And she's trying to tell people that her vagina smells like cardamom or whatever, I don't know. But she's been selling these candles for $75. And apparently, people are buying them because a woman in the UK says that her Gwyneth Paltrow vagina candle exploded, causing flames to burst out in her house. Jodie Thompson says the candle exploded and emitted huge flames with bits flying everywhere. I've never seen anything like it. This whole thing was ablaze, and it was too hot to touch. There was an inferno in the room, which I guess is not the worst thing that somebody could say about your vagina. That's actually pretty nice. But I looked it up. The candle, it is still for sale right now. You can go buy it for $75. But why would you do that? That candle is $75 and it might explode. That makes it the most expensive and the most dangerous vagina I've ever known personally. Why go through all of that when you could have this candle that smells like my junk? Oh yes, my friends, we did it. We did it. I have it too. This candle smells like my junk, available, and it's free. I'm giving it away. I'm not gonna charge you $75 for that. And it's super duper easy. All you gotta do is like the video, share this video on your favorite social media platform. It would be really nice if you tagged me, but I'm not gonna require that. And then go ahead and comment when you've done that so that I can put you into the drawing. We're going to announce it live on next week's show, right around 7 o'clock MST. That's Mountain Standard Time because I live in the hills with the hill people. You yourself could take home this candle that smells like my junk. And don't worry, it smells great. It smells just like sandalwood because that was the cheapest candle I could find at the discount store. And that is the litter box. Let's get out of the litter box and into the toy box because I found the best thing for Sunken Treasure. Sunken Treasure is the part of the show where I dig through my toy collection and I show you something incredible. Well, here's the thing. Normally it's a Harry Potter toy because I've got a lot of those Harry Potter toys. But we're going to be doing something a little bit different today. We're going to dive into my other collection, which are banned / controversial / recalled for safety toys. I love banned toys because toys are really just like a big part of history. When you see toys, you can really picture what's going on at that moment in time, and how people react to it tells you a lot about people's culture, and I just think that that is fascinating. And this is hands down one of my most favorite banned / controversial toys. I'd like to introduce you to Earring Magic Ken. I love him. I love him so much. Okay, a little backstory on Earring Magic Ken. Mattel number 2290, released in 1993. He was the only male of the 4 Earring Magic dolls that they made. Here are the other ones right here. So we've got Midge, who, she's got a very interesting story of her own that hopefully we'll be able to talk about one day on Sunken Treasure. Then we've got Barbie, and then literally just brunette Barbie. That was it. That was her name. She didn't have a special name. She was just Barbie, but, you know, with brown hair. Do it again, but with brown hair. Barbie has always been, like, a huge phenomenon since she came out in, like, the 50s. It's, like, the #1 toy in the world. Everyone loves Barbie. But Ken never actually sold as well as Barbie did. So in the early 90s, Barbie was looking to sort of spice things up, and they asked girls, should Ken stay Barbie's boyfriend, or should we introduce a new character to be Barbie's boyfriend? Now, these 5-year-old girls all kind of got together and they were like, look, we like Ken. We want Ken to stick around. We know him. We want to keep him here. But he has to look cooler. And this was Mattel's response. He has a fishnetty, see-through sort of thing going on underneath his violet/purple vest. He comes with jewelry, an earring in his left ear, not the gay ear. You remember the gay ear? How silly was that? He doesn't have it in the gay ear. He's got his little necklace and blonde highlights. Now, they were very specific about saying blonde highlights. It wasn't just blonde hair, blonde highlights. So we're gonna open this up also. One of my favorite things about collecting toys. I actually really like when there are price tag stickers on stuff because it kind of tells you a little bit more about the toy. I like knowing what it was up to before this. And this is probably obviously bought as a collector's edition. Crack him open here. I'm always so afraid I'm gonna rip open a box. Ooh. These are clip-on earrings for you that say Barbie and Ken, which I think is very nice. So actually, I'm just gonna go ahead and put these on here. Oh, dang. Oh, who dat? Oh, she looks good. Come on, Barbie. Let's go party. Oh, 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 yeah. Okay, well, this just... I know it fits. It was just on there a second ago. Aha! Ha, ha. All right. Now, the whole idea behind these clip-ons is that you clip them on to his necklace here. So he'll either say Barbie or Ken with that necklace. Now, here's why Earring Magic Ken got so popular. He's obviously gay. I mean, like, so clearly gay. I don't know that that was Mattel's intention, but that's kind of what Earring Magic Ken became known as. If you know the columnist Dan Savage, he used to write for an independent paper up in Seattle. Very famous gay. He actually wrote about this Ken because everyone seems to think that his necklace resembles a certain adult toy all by itself. An adult ring, we're gonna say. A chicken ring. There we go. That's how we can say it on a family show. It was a chicken. People thought that that was a chicken ring right around his neck. I mean, all that on top of the purple, the shiny, the highlights. And are those like nice loafers? You better believe it. The raw videos always end up being like 10 million years long because I have to slowly and carefully open each of these. Okay, Ken, come here. Oh, you're gorgeous. Give him to me. Give him to me. Earring Magic Ken. After Dan Savage wrote that piece, gays flocked to the store. And my favorite part about that is the Wikipedia article calls them kitsch-minded gays. And from now on, y'all can just refer to me as a kitsch-minded gay. I'm very kitsch-minded. He's so beautiful. My friend Liz got him for me for Christmas. So Elizabeth, thank you. Gotta put his loafers on. Oh no. Gotta go find that. Jesus, Ken. Oh, these are like specially designed for your feet. Why do they not go on? There we go. Now he's got his loafers. Okay. We're just gonna go ahead and Velcro that up, you little monster. We're styling. I feel really good. Ken, what do you want to do? Well, you don't need a mask, though. You don't even have lungs. After Dan Savage posted that article, after he published it, like that was the time. After he published that article about Ken looking very, very gay, Mattel pulled him off of store shelves and discontinued him, so he's pretty hard to find nowadays. He became one of the more collectible Barbie dolls, if you can find one, in really good shape. Part of the reason I opened him up is because this window is very yellow and he can be pretty hard to see. So I'm gonna clean that plastic so it's less yellow. Hey girl, what's up? I'm not like the other Kens. I wanna take care of you emotionally. That was from me to you. And that is Sunken Treasure. What an actual treasure. I love it. We're going to be doing a lot more of these banned / controversial toys because I have a whole collection of them in a different part of the house. But for now, let's get into some Nightcat Classic Tales. Pinky up because we're fancy. Nightcat Classic Tales is the part of the show where I share with you a past experience in my life, sometimes traumatic, not always for me, like in tonight's story. But before we get into that story, I do have to quickly tell you about a news story that I was reading that jogged my memory for this. This story comes to us from Denver. KUSA says the Denver police were recently called to free a trapped snake in someone's car. The snake's owner had just gotten the snake and decided he wanted to take that snake and all of his other snakes out for a joyride. He literally put them in boxes, stuffed them in the car, and took off for the sun. I don't know. Snakes don't care. They don't care at all. I've worked with enough snakes to know snakes do not give a single S whether or not they're in the car. But he decided that he really wanted to show his snakes the world. Well, the new snake, who apparently is not familiar with how car rides work, managed to get out of the box and lodged itself into a seat to the point where this guy couldn't find the snake at all. So the police literally had to come, undo some bolts, take out the seats so that they could get the snake, which they did, and the snake was fine. I used to work for a reptile exhibitor here in town called Scales and Tails, Utah. And basically I would take snakes and lizards and alligators to schools and I would teach kids all about how awesome they were. And it was like one of the best jobs I've ever had. I absolutely loved it. And we typically would travel for our shows, but it was never very far outside of northern Utah. Except for this one time when I loaded up all of our animals and drove straight through the night to New Mexico. Albuquerque, New Mexico, for a reptile show. And I get there, and I'm loading in the boxes. For the most part, it's pretty understood that you don't tell the hotel staff that you have boxes full of like 14-foot snakes. They don't like it. They're not fans. So you just sort of quietly take the boxes up to your room, put them away, and don't tell anyone. There was a conference happening of the Young Latinos Business Association. I don't know why it was important for me to tell you exactly what conference, but it was important to me at the time. I loved it. Two young prospective businessmen got onto the elevator with me when I had one enormous box. They're like, hey, what do you got in there? Which is a rude thing to ask. You don't ask people what's in their stuff, so I feel 0% bad about what's about to happen to this poor kid, right? So I say, big snake? And he's like, what? And I go, big snake. And he still wasn't hearing me, or he was like electing not to hear me. So, you wanna see? And I pop open the box, and I show him this snake. That's the exact snake from the exact trip. And I thought he was going to shoot out of the ceiling. He was trying to climb the walls. There's nothing to hold on to. It's an elevator. He was literally climbing up the mirror. I thought for sure the elevator was going to stop in its tracks. And as soon as those doors opened, it wasn't even his floor. He ran faster than anyone I've ever seen. If you gave Usain Bolt some sort of, I don't know, meth maybe, he would not have run faster than this young Latino business leader who ran away from this snake. Anyway, that's Nobby. She's gorgeous. She's just one of my favorites. And she helped me terrify the locals of Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I'm gonna go ahead and just give this snake a big ol' thank you, baby girl. Thank you. And that is Nightcat Classic Tales. If you have a hard time with snakes, don't worry, we got one more segment coming up that's gonna help you sleep. It's time for some more milk. Warm milk, good news stories to help you get to sleep. This one comes to us all the way from the Great White North, Canada. The Daily Mail says that Mike Antonetti has trained his 8-year-old dog to fetch beer, and the videos have gone viral. It is the cutest thing I've ever seen. He said, quote, "He's been a smart dog his whole life. He was picking things up pretty quickly and started getting really good at bringing me beer without having to give any direction." That's like the dream, right? Just you're standing there and suddenly there's a nice ice cold beer in your hand, and then you get to pet a dog. I mean, it just gets better every time I think about it. He brought me a bag of cheese once, and after some trial and error, he's now gotten it down and knows what to do. So I looked this up because I was trying to find the exact videos of this dog, which are buried underneath all of these videos of dogs. There are so many dogs that can fetch a beer. That is the most valuable skill I've ever seen in a dog. And these dogs are just straight up doing it for fun, having a great time. Look how happy they are. My dog is so useless. He couldn't do anything like that. He's just a scared, nervous little monster. He doesn't leave his room. Let me put it this way. Hoodoo, if he hears a loud, strange noise that he's never heard before, or if something happens really fast and it startles him, he'll just poop on the floor. He just straight up poops a little nugget right on the floor every time he's scared. I can't imagine trying to get him to open the fridge. He'd poop all over the place. But that has not stopped all of these beautiful dogs, and I love it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that helps you get to sleep tonight, and if not, maybe train your dog to bring you some beer. I think some beer will do you good. Hey, next week, we're gonna have a new show. It's gonna be fantastic. Make sure to subscribe, like, share it, and don't forget, sharing and liking this week is gonna get you this candle that smells like my junk. So make sure you go out and do that. All of the contest rules are down in the description of this video. And mostly, please just tell some friends. Please, I need numbers. I need validation. I'm a mess. And my therapist knows it, and I know it, but we're working on it. Until then, I need outside validation. So please make your friends watch my show and like it and tell me how pretty I am. Thank you. Good night.